What we're talking about today is 8 steps to making money through social media. I'm going to tell you a bit about myself first, and you know why I'm up here and why it's worth listening to me, hopefully. First thing is I really know how to use clickers, and then it worked first time. That's a good starting point, but that's there we go. So, this is me, and this is in my early days. This is I've been a journalist for 20 years before I started Status Social 3.5 years ago. This is the first ever unicycling piece to camera on Yorkshire Television's calendar news programme. I know I can see you impressed by that heady claim that's how I made my name, doing unicycling as talking at the same time on television news. So that was me. I started off in Yorkshire Television and TV. Also did a bit of newspapers before that and press agency, and learned all about how to be a good journalist. I can just honestly say from the very start, I've never tapped a phone and I've never bribed a policeman, although I have tried. Never with cash, just with smiles. Not even when I'm going for a red light. So I've never. So otherwise, I'm a good journalist, not a bad journalist. I'm not one of those ones you see on Coronation Street that bangs on Gail Tilsley's door and says, "I'm going to do the story from the Weatherfield Gazette." But not like that at all. So that was me initially. Then I went to the BBC. Excuse the screen, by the way. For some reason, it's cutting off the left-hand side, but that's not the best. But anyway, so I went to the BBC. Was there for 11 years. I was news editor of BBC Radio Derby, and it was at the BBC I was shown how to use social media to get stories. In fact, we uncovered a really big breaking story through Twitter that none of the rest of the world's press believed until 4 hours after it happened, because they didn't believe Twitter. It was in the early days when nobody believed Twitter before, when only a few of us were using it. So that was where I realised the real potential of using social media. Then I got into a conversation with a lady who owned a cafe in Derby, and it was a pretty rubbish cafe. But the good thing about it was the only thing that worked for her to get people through the door, effectively, was Twitter. So what she would do is she would build relationships with people, and then she would say to people, if you come and mention Twitter when you come into the cafe, I'll give you 15% off your coffee. So people came through the door, they mentioned the word Twitter, she then rang it in the till, and then she knew that people were coming in through Twitter, very easily measured. What was ironic was that the 15% off made her coffee prices the same as everywhere else in town, so actually it wasn't even a bargain. But you still went there because you felt you got a bit of a bargain and you built up a relationship with her. So we started up Status Social. We do things like this in lots of different places, get people to put hands up at the end, which we'll be doing again in a moment. We've trained around 1,000 business people how to use social media in the last 3.5 years. We're based in Derby. We offer training, we do workshops, and we also do manage accounts for bigger businesses, and I'll be mentioning a few bits and pieces as we go through. Don't see it as a shameless plug, although when I mention it, it will be a shameless plug. And then we also do silly things like this. Fastest change in history. You can't beat a bit of change. Look at that, 6 seconds to change cycling into a suit. That is very impressive. If unicycling on calendar doesn't get you excited, that should get you impressed. Great. So, what I want to find out from you guys is actually what you think and what you do with social media. So, you need to all go on your feet. All on your feet. Stand up, please. Everyone, stand up. Stand up. Stand up. Right. So I've got some things for you to do just to see where you're at, just so I understand the level you're at, whether you are social media aficionados or whether you hate social media but you're here under sufferers because your boss has told you to come and find out about social. So the first thing I want you to do, I would like you to pat your head if you're on LinkedIn. Great, keep patting it. Do not stop until I say you can stop. I'd like you to rub your tummy while still patting your head if you're on Twitter. Great. I'd like you to raise, while you're still patting your head, rub your tummy, I'd like you to lift your left leg if you're on Facebook. So turn in nice little circles. Very good. Right, with the hand that's patting on your head, I'd like you to, again, do little circles if you're also on Pinterest. Not many even heard of Pinterest? Right, okay, very good. Right, if you're on any other network, so blogging, Google Plus, or Instagram, I'd like you to hop on the foot that is not on the ground. Very good. That's good. Good stuff. Thank you. Well done. Well done. Nobody fell over. That's the first and end of my talk, so well done. I feel like I've achieved something today. So again, if you've not learned anything today, hopefully you can go away with new skills that you can teach your children and grandchildren. So what am I going to talk about today? I'm talking about the 8 steps of making money through social media. And the thing that most people get let down on is they have no strategy. Strategy, what a boring word. So many people talk about strategy for your business. Don't you get fed up of hearing it? But the reality is you've got to have a strategy to make sure that your social media is actually going to work. What does a strategy look like on social media? Well, there's loads of different elements to it. First of all, what are you actually using? What are you doing? What areas are you? People often think about social media platforms. They think about Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn, that sort of thing. But what about social streaming? It's like videos. What about audio book? What about kind of sounds? What about, there's loads of stuff out there. Social knowledge. Social knowledge sites. Anybody ever been on a social knowledge site? Do you know what a social knowledge site is? No? There's stuff out there you can use that can help your business get yourself leads. Social customer service sites. So that's where you actually use them as a way to improve your customer service. Social blogging. Anybody here write a blog? Nobody in the room writes a blog. 1, 2, 3, 4, that's better. Be brave the first time, please. Thank you, Richard. Give it away. 4 people in the room. Wow, do you know what? Blogging is one of the best things you can do, and I'll talk about why blogging is so great during this talk. Social news and discovery, a really good way of being able to share your blogs, and then the social search, which is the most exciting thing to hit social in the entire history of social media, which is only about 5 years, so let's not get too carried away, but it's still quite exciting. So I'll talk about that as well a little bit later on. So that's the kind of things, first of all, to think about in terms of a strategy. What are you actually trying to achieve? The businesses that I see fail on using social are the ones who haven't thought, why on earth am I using it in the first place? What is the point of me being on social? What am I trying to achieve? What am I trying to get out of social media? What's the point of it? Those are things to consider. Things like, who's your target audience? Who are you actually trying to get to? Who are the people you're trying to reach out to? Who here has a target audience of everybody? You cannot have everybody as a target audience. Because target audience, if you're saying everybody, it means babies, it means people in Afghanistan. Does it mean, no, it doesn't mean that, does it? Suddenly you shrink yourself down. So actually, what is your target audience? Time, how much time have you got to actually do social media? If you're doing social media well, you've got to spend a decent amount of time on it. Tone of voice. What are you actually trying to get across? What is the way you're going to put out your messages? The way you talk to people. I saw a great Twitter account, and it was a Derbyshire wedding stationery company, and their Twitter account was full of the F word. I think that's a bit puzzling. Why would they do that? And then what I thought was best bit of their Twitter was they said, oh, we've just had a row with one of our customers. Here's a link, you can read the email exchange. And there it was. Complaining customer, her telling the customer she was wrong, customer saying no, she was right, her telling the customer was wrong. And there was a little list. Now, that's somebody who's not thought about their tone of voice. Not thought about anything, to be honest. I don't see them anymore on Twitter. Maybe they've been sued. But think about what are you trying to, what's the tone of voice? What are you trying to get? Are you going to be approachable? Are you going to be lovable? Are you going to be funny? Are you going to be serious? All those sort of things need to be part of your strategy. Anybody recognise the dog in the top left-hand corner? Wow. It's a King Charles Spaniel. And the reason why he's there because content is king. What's your content strategy? What are you going to put out there? If you say, okay, great, I'm an accountant, I'm going to go on social media, I'm going to go on Facebook, because all my customers are bound to be on Facebook, I'm going to put a post on. No, I understand from hearing a great talk at Uttoxeter racecourse that you should be posting on Facebook at least 3 times a day. Okay? 3 times a day, I'm an accountant. What am I going to post 3 times a day that's going to get people interested? Now, I'm not saying you can't do that as an accountant, I'm just saying, have you thought through the process before you do it? And I'd say the same for all your businesses. Have you thought about what you're actually going to put out there to get people interested in your product? Perception is reality. So anyone wants to talk about the perception is reality. It's not really about what you really want to put out there about you, about your brand. It's actually what people think about your brand. So what are you going to try and put out there about your brand? How are you going to break down those perceptions? How are you going to get across what you want to get across and disrupt what people are thinking about you? And then finally, the marketing mix. Because I can tell you now, social media is not going to make your business successful. Social media works really well alongside offline stuff. So like Rob, anybody in Rob Brown's talk this morning? Yeah, a few of you? Rob will talk about this as well. The online and the offline. You know, you meet somebody at a networking meeting, you then connect to them offline. Oh, sorry, online even. It's all about making sure you bridge that gap, you use it in conjunction. Marketing does not mix. Marketing does not mean you throw away everything and only do social media. You've got to mix it up. Make sure there's a strategy between the two. So lots of things to think about there in terms of strategy. So number 2, in the 8 steps to making money through social media, set goals. What do you want to get out of social media? Why are you on there? Are you on there because you should be on there? Who here in the room is on social media? The only thing they've thought is they've gone on social media because they think that, actually, I should be on it because everyone's on social media. Yeah? I'd say most companies are the same. Well, they've been brave, guys. Because I don't know what's been as critical. It's because that's what it's like. People said, you need to get a website. Why? Because everyone else has got a website. What are you doing with your website? How is that converting? How is that actually achieving your goals? Why are you spending 1,000, 2,000, 10,000, even 50,000 on a website, but you're not actually doing anything with it? And the big corporations are guilty of that as well. So why are you on social media? What's the purpose of it? What kind of goals you need to set? You need to decide, okay, I'm on social media because I want to achieve this. So if I'm going to achieve this, how am I going to get there? So what sort of goals could you have? You can generate leads, and improve customer service, raise brand awareness, cut costs, maintain customer relationships, target influencers, attract former customers, find partnerships, generate website traffic, and improve your Google ranking. There's a lot there. If you've got all those as goals, you're going to get a bit messed up. So, what do you want to achieve through social media? See, one of my goals actually on the handout. I love this little line at the bottom here. It said, Mark was one of the deliverers of the first BTEC in social media business. He is passionate about getting across how good social media marketing can help every business to row. Or row. I don't know which one's better. It should be grow. It says here, row, row. But anyway, I'm not going to teach you how to row today, just to let you know, just in case you're worried about that. So, what are you trying to achieve through social media? What's the purpose of it? Why? How? I'm going to talk about this later on. How are you going to know when you get there? This is Mark Averill. He's the manager of the Derby Conference Centre. His purpose of being on social media was he wanted to get leads through social media. So he saw an article in the Derby Telegraph that said TK Maxx were going to open a branch in Kingsway Retail Park on the outskirts of Derby. He found the person who trained the staff at TK Maxx on LinkedIn, sent them a message and said, "Hi, I see in the paper you're going to be moving to Derby. Would you like a venue where you can train all your new staff for the TK Maxx store at Kingsway?" TK Maxx said, "Yes, please, that would be wonderful." It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. That was but he had a goal. He knew he was looking out for leads, and an opportunity came, he grabbed that opportunity. Number 3, target your customers. Target your customers. Well, let's go back a slight stage earlier on. We've got all these networks. Even if we talk about the most simple networks, the most popular networks, Facebook, Foursquare, blogging, Vine, LinkedIn, Twitter, AudioView, Tumblr, Google+, Facebook, I've said it twice, Instagram, Facebook, Flickr, Facebook, Pinterest, or Quora. You don't need to be on Facebook. Just because everyone's on Facebook, just because 1.1 billion people in the world are on Facebook, just because 36 million people in the UK are on Facebook, it doesn't mean you've got to be on Facebook if your customers are not likely to respond to you on Facebook. Well, where would your customers be? How are you going to best get them? How are you going to find them? Facebook, you kind of wait for them to come to you. Twitter, you can go out and get them. Google+, you can go out and get them. LinkedIn, you can go out and get them. So, which one is your best network? LinkedIn, very business to business, great for businesses. Don't be on Facebook if you're business to business. Work out where the best network for you, to be honest. This is the campaign we did. Excuse the quality of the screen here, unfortunately. It looks great on the TVs. This is the campaign we did for the Camera Winter Beer Festival, which is held in Derby this year. So what we would do, we looked for, they wanted to get Real Ale fans to come to Derby and stay in the city overnight in the hotels. So we targeted Real Ale lovers across the UK. Now they didn't even say on their profile that they liked Real Ale, but we managed to find out that they liked Real Ale. And then we sent the messages saying, "Hi, would you love to come to our festival?" And then they came, the hotels got filled, the beer festival got filled, the brewery tours got filled, all because of this very targeted, focused campaign. You see this middle one here? Jonathan Tanner in London, very impressed at Derby Beer, that was the Twitter handle. Personalised invites to their festival, not sure how they knew. Won't make it, but impressive marketing. Not sure how they knew. That's targeting. That's targeting to understand where people are and to actually get the best out of them. Don't waste your time doing general broadcast tweets on Twitter saying, I've got lovely carpets, come buy my carpets, I've got red carpets, I've got blue carpets, I've got green carpets. It's a waste of time. Who are your customers and how can you speak to them? And how can you actually build relationships with them? Build relationships. Number 4, build relationships on Twitter. Can I just show you something? These examples here are not building relationships. Sending that message is not building a relationship. Ask Chris Ellis, my sisters, he'll tell you. This tweet is not building relationships. This Facebook post is definitely not building relationships. And it's just ludicrous to put out there in the first place. What is building relationships? Building relationships is having a conversation with somebody. We're working for a client from London. I blanked out their name just so you can't see who they are. And we are focusing on building relationships with architects in London. Now, if I sent a message to an architect saying, it'd be great to work with you, they're a funny bunch of architects. Any architects in the room? Good. Oh, I can have a go. Architects are a right funny bunch. They kind of see themselves a bit like surgeons, very important. And I suppose to a point they possibly are. So when you try and kind of say to them, oh, can we have a meeting, or it'd be great to work with you, they just ignore the message. So how do we get into their hearts? What I do is I have a conversation with them. We build a conversation. So I build a conversation with Elron there, and Juraj and Luka who are both architects in London. And we can see the conversation is going back and forth. And now we're getting to that next stage, and hopefully now we're going to invite him to a meeting. So building up relationships. It's not a quick win. Don't expect social media to be a quick win. You can get quick wins. We trained an architect. I'll say that one until later on. Don't give away all the stories at the start. So build relationships. Take your time on social to make it work properly. Number 5, be consistent. What does be consistent mean? It means not tweeting once a month. 30th of September, Derby Libraries tweeted, need help with the CV or online job. 23rd of October, well, you at least are consistent, they tweeted the same thing again. The average life of a tweet, anyone ever guess how long a tweet is it the averagely seen?
24 hours.
24 hours?
Yes.
Less?
A few minutes.
Few minutes? 7 minutes. That means that tweet could have been seen for 7 minutes of a month. Now, I don't call that good. I was speaking to somebody the other day, and they were hiring a social media agency to tweet on their behalf once a day about their content. They were paying £200 for the privilege, and he said, I'm not trying to get leads out of it, I just wanted to raise my brand awareness. So I said, how much brand awareness do you think you're getting out of 7 minutes a day for £200? So I'm meeting them on Friday. Worth being consistent. Really, on Twitter, if you're going to have an impact, you want to be tweeting a minimum of 5 broadcast tweets a day. So in other words, tweets which are talking about what you're doing, that sort of thing. I'm not talking about selling tweets, we're talking about things that kind of give you value. You also know they need to be doing conversational tweets as well. So really, I mean, I do an average of about 19 tweets a day. There's a social media expert in America who recommends you should be tweeting no less than 42 times a day. 42 times a day. Do you know what? He's successful. He tweets, and he tweets good value content. You don't read it all, because you can't read 42 tweets a day, but he puts it out there. But it's good stuff. I'm not saying you need to tweet 42 times a day, but I'm saying you need to tweet a lot more than once a week, a lot more than once a day, a lot more than twice a day. How are you having an impact? If you tweet more, and you get results back, then you know it's worth it. If you're tweeting more and you're not getting anything back, then maybe you need to think about what am I tweeting about. That campaign for Derby Beer, we were tweeting 160 times a day. And you think, gosh, people would be well fed up of your tweets. No, because not everyone saw it because we understood how Twitter worked. And we got the results. And the followers grew. Facebook. what do you do on Facebook? This is the Stafford Centre, which is in the more famous Stafford, the one in Texas. No, it's not, I've never heard of it until I found it on the page. So this is the Stafford Centre, Arts and Entertainment. I don't think you'll be booking your trip to go to this one, by the way, just as a little clue. So here we go. This is actually in a Texas accent, shouldn't I? Like this, Holmes, let us know your favourite Clint Black song for a chance to win a pair of tickets to his performance on Thursday, 10/16. Good luck! Great. Okay, that was 3 hours ago that was posted. Nothing got some good engagement. 21 like it, 22 comments, 1 share, that's not bad. Previous post was posted, hang on, 3 hours ago. Pre-sale tickets now available. Turn back. Well, no, actually, you said it. Hang on. So they post twice at the same time. It's a bit strange, isn't it? Why would they do that? You can see this one's only been seen by one person. Why is that? It's because Facebook think, I'm not like showing 2 of your posts. You post at the same time. That's really spammy. I'm ignoring that one. Fortunately, somebody called, Bauer said, Desperado's my favourite song of Clint Black's. It's awesome. Even better than the original artist, and that's hard to do. It's a good endorsement, isn't it? So let's see what their next post was. One before this. Guess when it was posted? 4 hours ago. Pre-sale tickets for Clint Black on sale today. That is honest, that's supposed to be American. Same picture as the last one, 4 hours ago. And guess who's commented? Julie Bauer. My favourite Clint Black song is this version of Desperado. I bet she works for the Stafford Centre. 4 hours ago. That's not really good enough, is it? That's just cramming them together. Shall I go to the next one? The one before? 2 days. 2 days ago, so hang on, they posted 4 times, was it 4 times, 3 times, in an hour, and then the next one was 2 days before. And then the one before that was, yeah, another 2 days before. Now, if you're supposed to be posting at least 3 times a day on Facebook to make sure your posts are seen by your audience, because Facebook don't allow all your posts to be seen, they decide, not you decide, who of your page likes see your posts, then actually already, one, they've missed the chance by not posting in between, and then they've spammed everybody, or at least had their pages ignored by, their posts ignored by Facebook because they posted too much. So, inconsistent. You've got to be consistent. Think about your audience. When was the last time anybody here posted on their home page of their LinkedIn profile? Who's posted here within the last 24 hours? Good, good. Who's posted here within the last 6 hours? Okay, it's not too bad. At least you have some 24 hours, which is good. This is a great page. This is how you raise your profile. Be consistent. Google Plus. Who here had a Google Plus page? We have here. Who here's posted on their Google Plus page in the last last month? Hey, Richard. Well done, Richard. Anybody posted in the last week?
Yeah.
Last day?
Yesterday, yeah.
Very good. Very good. You can take over. Format. Format's an international photography festival. It's the UK's #1 photography festival. We were doing the consultancy for it. They have an international audience, so we recommended they posted 8 times a day on their Facebook page. Now they're a photography festival, so they've got loads of content. What was interesting about it was they weren't posting 8 times a day before we got involved. They started posting 8 times a day, sort of loads of reach, loads of people looking at the page, loads more engagement, and then the most telling post was from a lady in South America who said, "How come I liked your page a year ago and I've never seen any content, yet now it's appearing on my newsfeed?" That's because suddenly they were taking it seriously and Facebook were recognising they were taking it seriously. They were being consistent. Consider Google. But Google's not a social network. But one of the biggest things that's going on in Google and search rankings at the moment is that social media affects your Google ranking. Now, not all platforms do. Some people will tell you that Facebook has a big impact on search rankings. It does not. Some people will tell you Twitter does. It does not. There are other networks that do. So let's look at some examples. Steak and kidney pudding cooked in a slow cooker. That's a Derbyshire holiday cottage. She came to one of our blogging workshops and she said, "Oh, Mark," she said, "I don't understand it. I've got this page that gets loads of traffic and I don't know why." So I did a search. Steak and kidney pudding in a slow cooker. Kind of a typical search you might do as a long tail search, so using lots of words. And she came up #1 in the world. So she has then lots of people come to her blog. So as a result, her blog, which is part of social, is helping her become #1 on Google. Now, hopefully, if she did it right, people would click on that, they'd see all about the great recipe. She would say on there, "If you stay at our cottage, I'll promise I'll make you a special steak and kidney pudding on kidney pudding. one of those, on request, they don't think, well, what a great looking cottage, and they stay there. So blogging, really, really powerful. You know what I said about blogging your blog? This is a reason to blog. If you do a search for Nottingham social media, our page comes up in the top page just because of a blog that I wrote a year ago. Real power on social and on Google. Here's a Eurovision Song Contest 2014 scorecard. I'm sure you will use it for your Eurovision parties this year. We had a Eurovision party we do every year. Invite the neighbours around. It's really good. We play Eurovision bingo. Anyway, so it was the night before the Eurovision party, and we were printing out our scorecard. So I went onto the BBC Eurovision site, where we'd normally print it out, and you know what? They've made a gigantic blunder. Their scorecard only had 3 columns on it. And everyone knows on a scorecard for Eurovision, you always mark on outfit, performance, and and song, as well as, you know, give it a total. So we had to, I thought, well, I'll make my own one. And then I thought, hang on, how about if I brand it at the bottom, possibly steal the Eurovision one, but they wouldn't mind. And then I'll put it out on our website, and I'll just share it around social networks, which is what I did. I finished it about, I don't know, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. By the time of the Eurovision Song Contest, the next day, we were on page 1 of Google. We had 500 hits on our website. People tweeted us photos of themselves using it, including the brand manager of, the buying manager of Thornton's. And do you know what the best thing was? I posted it into a Google Plus community, and it gone mad from that. Google Plus, really, really powerful if used in the right way. Here's another guy. This is Mark Williams. He's an Adobe software trainer. We know what he said here. I just Googled Adobe software trainer, and I'm now 4th on Google, only being beaten by Adobe. Normally, you'd have to pay thousands of pounds for a search engine expert to get so high on Google. Speak to Chris. I was speaking to Chris earlier on, and he was saying about how they get more hits on the website because of the way he's optimised his LinkedIn profile. LinkedIn is really powerful if used right. To appear 4th behind Adobe because of your LinkedIn profile is incredible if done in the right way. Next. 7, measure your efforts, because what's the point of being on social if you have no idea whether it's working? Would you go on a diet without ever going on the scales? Yes. Of course you would. Would you? Yes, you would. Oh, fair enough, actually. But if you want to know whether it's working, you'd go on the scales, wouldn't you? So it's the same with social media. Don't go on the scales. But how do you know social media is working? How do you measure it? There's loads of great ways of measuring social. People say social is really hard to measure. It's not. It's become so easy. You just need a bit of common sense. So this is a very bad, this is a screenshot of Google Analytics. And on the right-hand side here is the word social. And it will tell you where the traffic from social networks have come to you on your website. So you can see here, Twitter, by far, 660 clicks from Twitter have come to our website since the start of the year. 610 from Facebook, 401 from LinkedIn. But also, interestingly, even though we had more from Twitter, they stayed on a lot longer when they came in through Facebook, minute 52, I think that says. And then, but on from LinkedIn, they're on for 3 minutes. Really good, valuable information. Now, if I set my Google Analytics right, I could then track whether they actually went to buy from us. But I'm not a Google Analytics expert. Just thought it looks very confusing to me. But I know this here is a very straightforward looking page. So Google Analytics, a good way of testing to see whether you are measuring your social media. Facebook Analytics, the insights. Great stuff in there. Think about where your audience comes from, which posts they like, how many click-throughs. It shows you information that you do not see just by looking at your page. And it will show you whether your posts are working or not working. Don Powell. This is Don Powell. He's an accountant. We trained him on how to use LinkedIn on the Monday. By the Saturday, he got £15,000 worth of new business through his LinkedIn profile. How did he know? How did he measure it? Because he asked the person, how did you find me? When was the last time you asked somebody, how did you find me? And then also, when was the last time you asked somebody, where else have you seen me? You know, somebody might say, I came to your website, but then maybe they were at an event. Maybe you chatted in a networking meeting. Maybe their friend told you about it. Maybe they looked at your Facebook page. Maybe they looked at your Twitter account. Maybe they read your blog. Maybe they looked at your Pinterest site. All that information is really useful. You can measure all that sort of content. So it's worth measuring to make sure that you can then say to people, I do well through social. And at least tell yourself, because then if you tell yourself, then you can be encouraged to carry on. So So the final step, number 8, is be honest. Do you want to look like this? This is the look of a man who's been running his social media for many years without success. He's managing in nine platforms, of which he's not using any of them properly, and at the moment it's just getting him down. Do you really need to be on that sort of platform? Are you really using it the right way? Do you have the knowledge that you wouldn't do your own business if you didn't know how to use it? So why do stuff you don't understand? Like, well, you'd never build a website. You'd never, oh, don't get me started. So if you're going to do it well, and then really think about what you're doing it for. It's better to spend 5 minutes a day on one network and do it well than it is to spend an hour on several networks doing all of them badly. And then if you do all that, you get it right, and you have a strategy, and all the things I've talked about, and what you end up doing is looking down at your hands with all these lovely, well, not that coins anymore. I mean, they're really worthless, aren't they? It's the best picture I can find on a free stock exchange website. So that's how you use social media to make money And now I'm open for questions. Anybody like to ask some questions?
So it works better than anything else in terms of business to business?
Business to business, LinkedIn by far is the best, but that's only if you're trying to build relationships. If you use it just to make connections, then you might as well not do it. If you're trying to get to the top of Google, then Google Plus is the best one as a business to business. But it depends what you're doing. Quora is a great one if you're positioning yourself as an expert. But not many people are on Quora. Great network. Any more questions? Yeah.
Is it worth, with Facebook and Twitter, they have the promotion services where you pay for them. Is it worth investing in them?
We ran a campaign for an international scientific magazine on a budget of £460, which maybe more than what most people want to spend. On a budget of £460, we achieved 10,000 likes to their page. They reached 6 million people, and it spent 4 pence per click. And they were targeted customers, the ones they wanted to get. You don't get that in your mail.
Okay, thank you.
But it's whether the right audience is on there. Sometimes you can pinpoint, sometimes you can't. I don't think LinkedIn is particularly good for targeting people. I think Facebook could be great, but only if you're after a certain type of person. There are some dangers involved in Facebook advertising that you can get ripped off. Any other questions? Yeah.
Using brand names on Facebook, you've got to be a bit careful, haven't you?
With?
Using brand names on Facebook.
Depends how you're using them. If you're saying you're innocent drinks, then yes, you'd get in trouble that way. But most of the time you can be okay on using brand names on Facebook. Depends how you do it. So that's a long answer to a short question. Yeah?
Do you think there'll be anything new coming along that Twitter and Facebook will just fade away and we've wasted all our time? Do you know what I mean? Do you think things are just going to leap ahead and everyone's desperately trying to catch up? Maybe people of a certain age like myself, that you're trying to catch up and then, just about mastered one and then you think, oh, damn, and everyone else is gone.
Do you know the interesting about social is the principles are the same in every network?
Yeah.
That actually it's about being social, it's about giving value. So if you learn how to give value and be social on Facebook, then it's just understanding the mechanics of other networks if you do have to move on. Will Facebook die? I don't know. They've been saying Facebook's going to die for years now, and it keeps on growing and growing and growing. I mean, it just keeps on getting into bigger audiences in other parts of the world. There's other networks that are really interesting. I mean, Pinterest we've not even spoken about today. Pinterest drives more website traffic than LinkedIn, Google Plus and YouTube put together, generates more online sales than any other social network, and can get you to number 1 on Google. Fabulous network. Not many people are on it, but an amazing network. Snapchat. Companies using Snapchat now. Can't stand it myself, but it's there if you're using it. I think it's just listening. The key thing about social, and one of the reasons why we just specialise in social media, is that social changes every day. You just got to keep on being on top of what's going on, and you don't have to read everything, but you just have to be aware. And find out where your customers are. If your customers keep saying, suddenly say to you, I'm on Snapchat, then think, okay, well, maybe I ought to be on Snapchat.
You mentioned blogging. What's your advice on the best platform to set the blog account up?
Ideally, you want to have a blog which is actually on your own website.
Right.
So you can then, because then people will go to your blog, and then they'll read your website while they're on your website. That's ideal. And you can use WordPress and Blogger and then attach them to your website.
Yeah.
I would always suggest to do those rather than have them just stuck away on a Tumblr blog or something like that. Any more questions? Great, well I'm around downstairs. We've got a stall right near the food bit right at the end. If you want to come and have a chat to me, and James, who's down there as well. And we also run public workshops, as well as bespoke workshops. They start at £80 plus VAT, which are a real bargain. And we, one of the things that we focus on is that we aim for you guys to get more money back in new business than you spent on our workshop. We're that confident that if you do the things we tell you, that you will have an impact with your business. So if you want to find out more about that, drop your business card on the table, and we'll send you one email. We won't send any more. We don't believe in spamming about those workshops, and then you can decide what you want to do with that information. Great. Thank you, everyone.